Hampshire will go into the last week of the LV County Championship season with a 10-point advantage over promotion rivals Essex. That after Will Smith showed amazing powers of concentration and application in batting out the last two sessions of the game with Kent at the Ageas Bowl to earn a much-needed draw for his team almost single-handedly. Hampshire's dreams of a draw were aided by the weather, with no play coming in the morning session, so Smith began the fourth day after an early lunch on 66, made out of his side's 110 for 1, and only 18 runs came off the opening 7 overs of 67 available, as the overall deficit after following on was reduced to 28. Liam Dawson scored most of the runs early on, but then he gave Kent a hope of a win, James Treadwell bowling him behind his legs on 40, having resumed on 28. Smith had decided that he was going to enter full blocking mode, leaving the majority of the scoring to new man James Vince, who for the most part stuck with his natural game, the best thing to do on a last day pitch, with someone with the skills of Treadwell getting through plenty of overs. Vince soon had his side into the lead, and now each run scored was using up valuable time. A draw so important for the home team to keep as far ahead of Essex as possible. Smith scored one early boundary but didn't bother with another for the next 54 balls, this one taking him to 86. The lead stood at 22 when Vince was brilliantly caught by Darren Stevens in the slips off Callum Haggett. For a 38-year-old, the fielder showed some remarkable reaction skills to send Vince on his way for 27 at 178 for 3. Haggett then came off to let Adam Riley bowl at new man debutant Tom Ulsop, who was LBW to a ball that turned sharply. Ulsop was gone for 4, but Smith was still there, and when he timed this shot through square leg off Treadwell for his 11th 4, a second 100 of the summer had been completed off 212 balls. It was an heroic performance from the former Notts and Durham man, who's had a great time in his first year in Hampshire. This was a magnificent effort, and one which was keeping his side's head above water. By tea, Hampshire were 5 down, a wristy flick from Adam Wheater off Riley finding Treadwell, the batsman on his way for a single. So now it was all about Smith, who went to the tea break on 110, with his team on 202 for 5, leading by 46 runs, and still with much to do to save this important contest. Saving it appeared to be beyond their means, as 4 wickets then fell for 31 runs in 11 overs after the interval. To the 4th ball of the final session of the match, first innings centurion Sean Irvine was LBW to Riley for 4. 6 balls later and Chris Wood was out for a duck, Treadwell winning the leg before decision this time. And when Riley got another LBW in the next over to remove Matt Coles without scoring, Hampshire looked as if they were heading to a defeat, in spite of the help from the morning's weather. The man that stood between Kent and a victory, which would have had one and all in Essex cheering with delight, was Smith, who moved into the 6th hour of his innings without showing any signs of giving his wicket away. Runs were still important, of course, and so he didn't miss out on any opportunities to put the ball to the boundary. Imran Tahir increased the lead by 6 with this shot, the South African international sticking with Smith for half an hour, in which 25 runs were added. But the lead stood at just 77 when he was bowled by Treadwell, who now had 8 wickets in the match, his latest leaving Hampshire 9 down. Had the last wicket fallen now, Kent would have had the time to knock off the runs, but Smith maintained his approach, superbly backed up by James Tomlinson, who blocked out 69 balls in the match overall, in which many points were earned while he was at the crease. By the time the lead got to 92, time had worked against the visitors, and the game was drawn with no wickets in a dozen overs. Smith ending unbeaten on 142, made from 304 deliveries in 345 minutes. It may just be the innings that earns his side promotion. He pulled off a draw here from which Hampshire took 10 points to leave them 10 clear of Essex in second place in the table, with a trip to Glamorgan to come. Essex take on the champions-elect Worcestershire. Kent incidentally claimed 12 points from this contest.